Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The final episode of Season 3 of The Boys is now out, so this is my review of Season 3 of The Boys. Before I tell you guys what I think of this season of The Boys, let me know down in the comments, what do you think of this season of The Boys? What did you think of the finale itself? And what did you think of the season as a whole? And because I've never talked about The Boys on my channel before, what do you think of the first two seasons as well? What were your expectations going into this season? And did it deliver on your excitement level? I'd love to know your thoughts. With that said, I'm going to get started talking about this show and what I thought about it. And basically, I'm going to start off spoiler free. I'm going to talk about my thoughts of the seasons without any spoilers, and eventually I will go into spoilers and I'll give a spoiler warning so that way it doesn't get spoiled for you if you haven't seen it yet. Now, I'm not someone that watches a lot of TV shows. Most of the time I just watch the most popular ones, or I watch stuff that is related to my favorite franchises like Star Wars and Marvel and stuff like that. So I'm not a big TV show guy. But The Boys is one of those TV shows that I heard a lot of great things about, so I started watching it, and over the last few years, I think this is one of the most consistent and best shows on TV, and especially as superhero shows, this is definitely one of the best ones. So I was obviously really excited for the season 3 of The Boys, and I was really interested in checking out how they're going to continue off of season 2, and I feel like they did a really good job. Just like every other season, this season does a great job of having a bunch of weird things going on, but having a story and characters on top of that that is very layered, and you have a lot of things going on at the same time. And I think the story and characters is really what makes this show as good as it is, because even though you have this exterior that feels like on the surface it just feels like a show with a bunch of gore, a bunch of dark superhero stuff, and a bunch of weird things that you probably wouldn't see in other superhero properties. So because of that, a lot of people think this is just a random show that is about superheroes, that is just goes a bit too far sometimes. But really, when you watch the show, it does have compelling characters, it does have a compelling story, and throughout pretty much the entire series, it's really interesting to watch because we have these characters that are so compelling and you want to see what happens to them. And I think in a way, this season feels like it's the biggest in scale and has the most stakes because it builds upon what happened in the previous seasons, and it just brings it all together really well. And when you do get to the finale, everything is really satisfying. You obviously have a new character in Soldier Boy, who I think is a really good character. He's played by Jensen Ackles really well. The actor does a great job, and just throughout the whole season, he's just given such a great character arc, and he has a compelling motivation. So throughout the whole season, he's just really enjoyable to watch. But we also have all the other characters that we know from the first two seasons that still have compelling characters, and they're still really enjoyable to watch. And the main team dynamic is also really entertaining. And when you do get to that finale where everything plays off really well, it is really great. Obviously, a lot of people were talking about the Herogasm episode, which is just really weird. It has this setting of all these weird stuff happening, but it still has, at the core of it, it's still about our characters, about our story, and the way it progresses everything is really great. And when you do get to the finale and how that sets everything up, and in the final 3 episodes, really, Herogasm in episode 7 and episode 8, all 3 of those episodes are just really great, and they bring the series to a conclusion really well. With all that being said, I don't love this season like completely. I don't think everything is perfect. There's a whole subplot with Kimiko and Frenchie that for the most part I just found very uninteresting, and I was not really interested in any of that. Every time we cut to them, I was just more interested in everything else that was going on. So whenever we cut to Frenchie and Kimiko, I wasn't really interested, but I think everything else is pretty great. And as a whole, I think this season really delivered on my excitement, and it's another great season from The Boys. So that's it for my spoiler-free section. Now I'm going to go into spoilers. So if you have not seen season 3 of The Boys yet, skip over the spoiler section and go to my final thoughts. I'll probably leave the time codes down below in the description. With that said, I'm going to go into spoilers, and I thought, like I said, I think this season is great, and the first thing I want to talk about is Soldier Boy. I think Soldier Boy, played by Jensen Ackles, is just such a great character, because at first you feel like he's basically Homelander and kind of a Captain America ripoff, except he gets much more of a story than that, because he was someone that was betrayed by his team. Sure, he wasn't exactly the nicest guy, but the reason he's doing everything throughout this whole season is because we learn that he was betrayed by his whole team and he's going after the rest of his team members, which I think is pretty compelling of a storyline. So when you are watching him kill everyone on his team that used to be on his team, it is kind of sad, but it also kind of pays off well, because even though he's a bad person, you know they betrayed him. So technically, in a way, they're bad people. So I love the fact that they put so many conflicting ideas inside of this one character. And when you do get to episode 7, where it's revealed that he's Homelander's father, that adds a whole another level to it, because he kind of cares about him. He doesn't really want to kill him, but he doesn't really have a choice. He also wants to kill him. So I think, in a way, it's just the way everything played out with all the conflicting emotions with this one character, I think is great. And Jensen Ackles just did a fantastic job of performing and emoting everything he was supposed to do. Throughout the whole season, the main conflict is that we have Billy and Huey who want to get rid of Homelander, and also Queen Maeve. And while they're going after him, we have the rest of our main crew who they don't want to go with them, because they don't want to have like a bunch of people die because of the way Soldier Boy and Homelander would fight. And because of that, they go on their own side mission. And then the whole thing with Kimiko and Frenchie, I never found interesting with the new character. I don't think she's a new character. She might have been in one of the other seasons. I think her name is Nina or something. Whenever we cut to them, whenever, Frenchie got kidnapped at some point and Kimiko had to go free him or something, all that stuff, I just didn't care for. I think all that could have just been out of the series. And I think it did kind of play into our main plotline, because they had to go to Russia and stuff, and that did kind of help. But really, aside from that, everything else with that whole plotline, I just didn't like. I thought it was very uninteresting. But then you have MM and Starlight, which I thought was great. I think Starlight and MM were actually really good, because MM, on one hand, is just, he's a character that is just, he doesn't like Soldier Boy, because Soldier Boy pretty much killed his family. And because of that, we have a compelling character in him that he kind of wants to go along with what Billy's doing, but he doesn't. So he goes away from him, and Starlight also joins him in his thing. And while all that's happening, we have Huey and Billy that are helping Soldier Boy kill his own team. And we get to this episode in Herogasm where all these weird stuff is happening, but Soldier Boy shows up to kill the two twins over there. And while that's happening, Homelander shows up, and we get this awesome fight scene, which is just really, really cool. I think Herogasm as an episode itself might be my favorite or second favorite episode of the season, because I really like the finale too. The finale and Herogasm are my two favorite episodes this season. And Herogasm over here, just the way everything plays out is just really awesome. I love the main fight between Huey, Billy, Soldier Boy, and Homelander, because it's a 4-way battle and it's really awesome. We get to a point where it feels like Homelander is going to lose, but then he finds a way to escape. And right after that, I was like, oh my god, how are they going to top this in the finale? And they still found a way to do it, which I think was amazing. But later on in that episode, the way it ends is actually, I think, my favorite part, because we have Annie, or Starlight, who basically publishes online. I think she's on Instagram Live, and she goes, "My name is Annie January, and I effing quit," which I think is just such a powerful line, because you see everything she goes through throughout that season, because Huey just leaves her and goes with Billy to help Soldier Boy, and everything that happens is just completely against her. And I think the way everything played out is in that episode is just amazing, and that was such a powerful ending to that episode. I also love the fact that some of our heroes get powers this season, so when they are going after everyone else, it is just really intense, because our heroes have powers too, but maybe they're not as strong as like Soldier Boy or Homelander, because those are the most powerful heroes. So I think all of that stuff was really good. And there's also a whole plot line with A-Train, because he lost his powers, and I think this whole thing was just, I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of it. I think this kind of felt like everything with Frenchie and Kimiko, because although it was good enough, it was fine, I didn't hate it, it just didn't work, because I was much more interested in our main characters, like Soldier Boy, Homelander, Billy, and Huey, where everything was going on. It was much more interesting. So every time we cut to A-Train and everything that's going on with him, I was just bored and I wanted to go back to everything else. But I do think in the final episode, when his brother tells him to leave and calls him a murderer because he kills Blue Hawk, I think his name was, I think that was a pretty emotional thing because they're both brothers, and he doesn't want a murderer in his house. So it's a really powerful thing, and I think that moment really gave a lot more humanity to A Train than any other moment in the show. So I really like that. And then everything with the Deep is just weird. The Deep is a weird character in general, and his girlfriend this season is also really weird because I feel like she's kind of a bad person. At the beginning, she just seems like a normal person, but eventually, throughout the whole season, she just gets weirder and weirder the way she acts. And I think that I was a little conflicted on it because I think the way Homelander treated the Deep was really brutal because he made him eat one of his friends or something, which I thought was stupid and really dumb. But the way it was executed in the show was actually pretty cool, and it felt like a really horrific scene. So that whole scene was really weird, and just Deep, everything with the Deep this season was, I think, really weird, but I kind of liked it in a weird way. And like I said, when it is revealed that Soldier Boy is related to Homelander in that episode, I think it was episode 7, it's a really great scene, and it's kind of obvious because you should kind of see it coming because Soldier Boy is much older than him, and he wasn't from the same time period, even though he looks the same age. And Homelander is obviously the strongest person now. So, but because both of them are the strongest superheroes, you'd expect them to have some sort of a relationship. And the fact that he was his father, I actually thought, I was like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. It didn't blow my mind or anything like a lot of other twists do, but I thought it was a pretty solid twist, and I did enjoy the fact that they're related. And as you go into the finale, that adds a lot more layers to what's happening. That's also the reason Homelander kills Black Noir, and I have to say, Black Noir is a great character. I think, just this season, because he never speaks, he never talks or anything. But this season, we do see his backstory, and then we do see his whole animated friends recreate everything that happened in his past. So when we do watch him this season, and we get to the finale where Homelander kills him, I felt really bad for him. I think Black Noir is a really good character this season, and the fact that he is overlooked so much in the previous season, and when you get to this season, he has so much more backstory, so much more of just a character in general. And I think I just found him to be a much better character this season, and I was really sad when he died. When he died, I was really in shock because I didn't think they were going to kill him off, because I know Homelander's a ruthless guy, but I didn't think he'd kill Black Noir. But he did, and I thought it was really sad. But of course, you gotta talk about the fight, everything that happens in the fight, because there's a bunch of fights happening. You have Soldier Boy versus Billy, which is the main fight, because Soldier Boy is, I guess, kind of the villain of this season. And then you have Maeve fighting Homelander, and Homelander is trying to kill Soldier Boy because Soldier Boy is hacked Homelander's son, and the way everything plays out is really cool, and you have some really great action sequences. There's a lot of great fights. I think everyone using their powers, I think in this fight was really cool because everyone got a moment to shine, even Soldier Boy and Homelander. So I think the fights themselves were really, really good, and Maeve doesn't care about anything, so she's just going after Homelander because she hates him. And we get to this point where Homelander beats Maeve, then he tries to fight Soldier Boy, but he doesn't because Starlight beats him up. And you get to this point where I thought that Soldier Boy was just gonna blow up and blow up a bunch of things, but that doesn't happen because Maeve saves everyone. And I thought that was a pretty great moment. I kind of wish Maeve just died because I think that would have been a really emotional, sacrificial kind of moment, like a hero sacrifice moment. But she doesn't die, and we later on, just pretty much right away, they don't lead us to believe that she died. I like that because whenever you fake kill a character and then bring them back later, I think that's always dumb. But I like the fact that here they don't actually tell us that she died. They tell us right away that she survived it. So I'm glad that they did that instead of fake killing her and then bringing her back, because I always find that really annoying. And then the way the season ends is Ryan, Homelander's kid, goes with Homelander, which I thought was actually really cool because I would expect him to not. Because at this point, he's just a bad person. We know that Homelander is a bad person. And what I'm expecting to happen is, I think in season 4, if once they continue the story, I think Ryan's honestly going to become a bad guy. I don't know why, But I think the way the season ended, I just have a feeling that he's gonna join Homelander and just start killing people, basically. Because I don't know why, but that's just a feeling I have because of the way his character played out this season, the way he left Billy but went with Homelander. We also learned that Billy doesn't have a very long time to live, so I'm assuming that there's not going to be a big time jump from this season to next season. I think it's going to take place within a few months of each other because of the way, because Billy is going to die soon, unless they're just going to kill Billy off screen, which I don't think is going to happen. So we learned that he's going to die because of the temporary V, and I think that is actually, that adds a lot more stakes to the fact that if you do take Temple, you're gonna die eventually. And I think that the fact that over here we have Billy pretty much dying, I think it's really emotional. I don't think he told any of the other characters in the show that that's gonna happen. So I like the fact that he kept it a secret. So eventually when he does die, it's gonna be really emotional. So I think that I really enjoyed this season. I think, but the way everything came to a close in the finale was really great. And at the end of the day, it really delivered on my excitement level. The way the season ended, I think, is great, with Starlight joining the boys and basically everyone. It's a really happy ending in a way, but we have I forgot her name. I think her name was Newman. She becomes vice president, but she's also a soup. So Billy says we got to get rid of her. So I think that's going to be the main conflict of next season, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed season 3 of The Boys. I don't think it's perfect. Like I said, there's a couple of side plots I wasn't as interested in, but the main story here is really compelling, and there's a lot of great characters, and Soldier Boy is a great new addition, and I hope that eventually we get to see more of him. I know he's put back in a tank, but I hope eventually in the future seasons he does come back and we get to see more of him, because I thought this season he was a compelling character and I really enjoyed him. So yeah, overall, I think this is a really great season of The Boys. I think it continued off of the previous 2 seasons really well, and it also built upon them with giving our heroes powers and stuff like that. The way everything played out, I think was really satisfying. And when you do get to the finale, everything pays off really well. And I cannot wait to see how they continue this in the next season. I'm going to give season 3 of The Boys an A-. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's like completely amazing, but I think, it's a really great season. It's a really good continuation off of the previous seasons. And I'm really excited to see where it goes, like I said. And I don't think it's the best show of the year. I think as of right now, it does pretty easily Stranger Things season 4. I think that's the best show of the year. But this would be number 2 or number 3, depending on if I prefer this or Peacemaker, which I'm not 100% sure about because I really love both. But yeah, I really enjoyed this season of The Boys. Let me know down below in the comments, what did you think of this season of The Boys if you have seen it? And if you want to put spoilers, be sure to put a spoiler warning so that way it doesn't get spoiled for anyone. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.